back to SpectreVision. This week, Black Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
To all a good night.
I'm old!
My balls are old.
What do you want for Christmas? I want a new ball sack!
Some people want a facelift. I want a nut lift.
Yeah. We're getting into some pretty dark shit this episode.
So we may as well start off in the weird zone because we talked about Black Christmas 1974. Talk about Black Christmas
2006?
tonight. And let me tell you, vast differences between the original and the remake.
Yes.
So here's cheers to fucked up films and fucked up things to say on the internet.
Tastes like bananas. I don't know if it's the vodka or the eggnog. Either way, it tastes like garbage.
Almond milk, either way. Next time we'll find something else to put in those moose mugs, because that's trash.
Yeah, we're gonna do White Russians, I think, the vegan way, like I was doing before, with just some Kahlua, vodka, and a little bit of almond milk.
Yeah, that'll work. So next time, we'll switch it up. So this Black Christmas, man, 2006, it's disturbing on every level possible. First of all, they have this jaundiced-looking motherfucker. Billy is the killer.
Yeah.
And his sister, which is also his daughter.
And the shots of him as a baby borderline look like so weirdly shot, they borderline remind me of like Sin City.
Yeah, it's...
With like the fucking yellow guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Whoever wrote this either went through some serious trauma or heard about someone that went through some trauma and then wrote about it.
Stay in the sun till it looks like you have jaundice.
Yes, Jesus Christ. So, what more can you say about a movie besides, they try to make it a serious, like, Black Christmas movie at first, right? You get the whole sorority thing going on. It's all fun and games. There's a bunch of cute girls running around like, woohoo! Even a bunch of famous cute girls, right? So,
Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in there. I got a couple other names written somewhere. Michelle Trachtenberg. I don't know how to pronounce that shit.
yeah, Lacey Chatbert, who was well known for being in, I don't know, some chick flick, but I know her from Mean Girls. So.
Directed by Glenn Morgan, who was an X-Files director. Did some good work on that show, and also directed the remake of Willard, starring Crispin Glover, which I recommend if you haven't seen, because it's very fucked up also.
So despite this cast, they've still got an unknown playing Billy and Billy's daughter/sister.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this takes place at a college, but really it should take place in Arkansas because there's some hillbilly shit going on in here.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely like, it reminds me of, in terms of remakes, it reminds me of the Halloween remake, where it takes the movie and just fucking gruesome, makes it way
Goes
more
to the
gruesome and
extreme,
gnarly.
yeah.
Yeah, like...
The death, there's some amazing fun death scenes in there, but the overall story for me is what's really twisted, right? I mean, you see this backstory about Billy going through child abuse as a kid, like he sees his mom screwing somebody, so then he gets locked up in the house because his mom's cheating on his dad. Well, then dad goes bye-bye, and then it's stepdad.
Well, they kill his dad in front of him while he watches, and then he catches them burying the body, and it goes all through all this horrible fucked up shit. One night, it looks like she's fucking the stepdad or whatever, and he passes out.
On the stairs, yeah, she passes out, and then she hears the chair of Billy rocking up in the attic, and then goes up and rapes her child son, and then has a 9 months later bump on there. You're like,
Jesus
horror
fuck.
movies are great, man, but like that's some real fucked up trauma stuff right there. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
On the other hand, there's some beautiful shots of the outside of the house during Christmas time.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. This movie's like back and forth between being like really entertaining and being so fucked up. You're like, what is wrong with you? Like, there's a lot of eyeball stuff. So if you hate like anything going on with eyes, there's some eyeball removal services going on in here several times. There's eyeballs hanging from a Christmas tree, which we obviously don't have featured here because we're not psychopaths.
Yeah.
If you're a big fan of Black Christmas, so that'd be a pretty good ornament to put on your tree as like a dismembered eyeball that's just dangling around.
He escapes from the asylum by somehow murdering a Santa Claus who is there to like give kids to crazy children or something, and he's just like lost in the psycho ward. And then Billy kills him and takes his Santa outfit apparently, and that's how he gets out of there.
It's pretty wild as far as that goes. So
Yeah.
it's but yeah, just the trauma that happens to people in there. Like it's a fun movie to watch, and then you see some of those moments, and they're just so cringeworthy. And obviously, they try to set up like multiple killers. Like a girl's sister shows up that is one of the girls that's killed and missing early on. So you're like, oh, okay, could that possibly be her? Clearly not. If you've seen the original or you know anything about it, that's not the case.
And they
then,
set you up to think that Eve is the sister too.
Yep, yeah, they set
And
you
then
to
they
think
fucking
that
later
that's
find her severed head.
Yep, yeah, you see this like weird chick, and like she disappears, and then yeah, you find her head just fucking hanging out up in the up in Billy's space in the attic.
One of the most fucked up parts about this is when Billy's a baby, it shows his mom go over to where he's at because she doesn't like Billy because Billy already reminds her of her husband apparently.
Yeah.
So she fucking just crushes a glass ornament in her hand and just like drops it all over the baby. And obviously doesn't show any of that, but it's like,
Yeah,
Jesus
it's like
fuck.
literally a baby in a crib at that point in time, right? And then you see her like abusing him, like basically telling him the Russian shot Santa Claus down, like so.
Yeah, that shit's fucked
They're
up.
really trying to get the point across that this is why Billy's fucked up. But when they do that, like you're not even like mad at Billy because he's so fucked up because his mom's a monster. You're just like, Jesus Christ! Like they took the concept of psycho, and like ran with it as fucking fast as they could. They pulled a Forrest Gump and went running and running and running, and that's what you got. And it was over the top.
There are some cool references to the first movie, like the outside shots that are done in point of view of Billy, and they are very shot similar to the original one. So those shots are really cool to see done. And then there's also, what do I have here? Oh, the unicorn glass.
Yeah, the unicorn glass that's used to like stab. You know, she stabs him there again.
That happened in the original one, which is pretty cool. It's given as a gift in this one and then used later.
So usually on like a remake, you'd see like a story go down a certain path, right? And in this, they do a hard 180 and just start going the opposite direction. It's like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
Right? So in the first one, you get the cops that come and get involved and try to help out and figure out what's going on. Okay, whatever. And that works for that story because it's more of a thriller than like a scary movie, right? It's got some slasher elements early on to it because that's kind of pioneered the genre, but this is just full on beyond slasher and just as a gore movie.
Well, that's what I was saying. It borderlines like, you know, how the remake of Texas Chainsaw and Hills Have Eyes were, where they're just really fucking gnarly, but they're not quite as gnarly as shit that you just can't watch, like Saw or Hostel, but they are on the gnarlier side of things still, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so they leave the whole cop element out of there. You know, they try calling campus security. Conveniently, they can't be reached because there's a snowstorm going on in this one. And then, you know, Billy's voice when he calls, he's not very creepy, right? And this is around when there's like cell phones, so they kind of do a little bit of play with that. So, you know, like they call and find out that the killer's in the room with them or up in the attic, and like you can see the light of the phone buzzing and hear the phone ringing and all that. Okay, whatever. It's just, I enjoyed it a lot more the first time I saw it because it was kind of fun and different, but like watching it now and reanalyzing it, you're like, yeah, some of this is like really extreme with like the child abuse shit. That's just like weird and like unnecessary to like tell a serial killer's backstory for that, right?
Yeah.
Just be fucked up on its own. Like this is trying too hard to be shocking to you, right? That's what it's trying to do. And like the kill stuff's fine like that, the murder, the violence, like that's violence and gore, right? That's all. You know, I guess for me, it's like you got to draw the line somewhere. Like, what are you doing? You're trying to like psychologically fuck with people, and you're trying to.
Well, they didn't
warm
overshow
out.
things either.
Yeah.
They did get their point across with the gross shit, but I mean, it is what it is. It's horror, I guess. So anything's fair game as long as it's horrifying. If you find it horrifying, to be honest, I like things like this. This movie is almost hard for me to watch sometimes. So it's like I like that about it because there's not a lot of horror that fucks with me anymore. So when I find horror that fucks with me, I'm like, well, that's still horror to me.
Yeah, well, that's going back to like that really what's horrifying and why you love the genre, right? Because you get that feeling of being like, whoa, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like it's like, nothing to write home about. Definitely things I really liked about the first take on this better, the original. This isn't bad, but we'll be coming back at you in the next episode with the most recent remake.
I do like... No, we won't.
We're not coming back with the third one?
No. We're not covering that dog shit. We've covered enough dog shit with this one.
That's
We're
true.
skipping the next one. We're going straight to Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. But there's a couple more things in this movie I wanted to point out real quick. There's that's very funny. At the beginning, when they're in the asylum, they're handing out milk and cookies to all the criminally insane people. It's Christmas Eve, and he's saying, Merry Christmas to all the people, criminally insane people, as he gives them or whatever. I don't even know if he says that. But he opens one slot, and he says, Happy birthday, and he tosses them on there, and the fucking guy in there comes up and he starts rambling about something about the Messiah, and it's like, this guy thinks he's Jesus. And that was just like a great little throwaway joke in there to me.
Yeah, like, and the guy looked the part. He had like the long hair, the kind of scruffy beard.
Yeah,
that worked well, right? I think that fit right in with that scene for the insane asylum. So like, it was like, okay, that's fun.
Or when,
Or the cookie cutter scene was pretty fucking gnarly. Like, they basically make human bacon, so Billy decides to fucking cut out.
Yeah, after he kills his mom, he
kills his
cookie
mom.
cuts her back and turns it into
Takes a
human
bunch
cookies.
of skin off her back, and like the way they have that filmed, it's like so wet and bloody and gory. It's just like, it looks like real fatty tissue in there, so it looks pretty authentic. And then you see him like eating burnt skin with milk and dipping it in the milk when the police show up. And
then one of the other lines that I wrote down in quotations was, tastes like chicken. Because it's chicken. Just like how Mom used to taste. Just so fucking wrong. And just brutal and just fucked up. Weird, obscure, like, lines like that make that movie. Because it reminds me of the lines in the first movie where it's like, suck my juicy cock on the phone, and they do have a little bit of that, but the shit talking on the phone is nowhere near as good as the first one. So
the voice wasn't as good. The dialogue that the actor was saying like just wasn't. It just didn't live up to the original one, right?
Yeah, it was very cliche feeling instead.
Yeah, it felt. The phone stuff felt like an afterthought in this movie, right? It didn't feel like it was driving the story, whereas the original, that's a major driving factor, even though landlines were still a big thing in 2006.
Yeah.
Like, they could have adapted that much better, but they were more worried about, like, we're going to show how fucked up this guy, how this guy became this fucked up. And it's like, you're basically having a prequel story just kind of scattered and edited throughout the regular feature, and it's, I don't know. It's gory, it's trashy, it's fun. But it's nothing to write home about.
It's a slasher movie, so there's lots of blood and there's lots of pretty young women. What more do you want? Perhaps bare boobs, which this movie does not have. There is a nipple shadow at one point, but boobies and blood, they just go together. Like boobies and blood.
Take your word on that.
What, have you never watched any of the Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Streets? Am I alone here?
No, I mean, I get it. I get it. It's 2006, though. They're trying to have some taste. Back in the 80s, boobs
They
were
were not
everywhere.
trying to have taste. There's a kid raped by his mom in this movie.
Yes.
And skin cookies.
They did show the mom's nipples, though, if you do recall that.
Oh, that was horrifying, though. True.
Well, that still counts. So there you go.
That was
You've got it. You've got it. And
comparable
now
to
you're
the-
selling it. And you're selling it.
Comparable to the scene in The Shining. Jack Nicholson in the bathroom.
Yeah. It's a little twisted, but that's Black Christmas 2006. Let us know what you think of that. What's your favorite kill in that movie down below in the comments section. And if you're not already following, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that button like we smashed Nick's mom.
You want to have a shower?